you'll see it across the board among all of the cuisines.
Along with the cooking, we have created a beautiful set here for this traditional Chinese cuisine, where we've transformed Times Square into the kitchen stadium inspired by the capital of China's Tang Dynasty over 1,200 years ago.
Yes, they're like the pagodas of China's Tang Dynasty. They were created by designer Wei Jianshi and architects Brandon Liu and engineer Steve Chen. They worked together to make these incredible portable cooking stations that marry ancient art and modern day engineering.
All right, let's go take a look at the video on the Tang Dynasty. Welcome back. We're live in Times Square for NTD's 4th International Chinese Culinary Competition. We are in the final round of the finals. It has been a non-stop cooking extravaganza, hasn't it, Tyson?
It really has. Right now we're looking at cooking station number 2, Xu Wenwu from Taiwan. His self-selected dish is the earthly triple delight.
That sounds delicious.
Yes, he'll be making a combination of fried potato, green pepper, and eggplant, but right now it looks like he's still preparing the required dish. It looked like he was working with the preserved cabbage, slicing it up, which he will stew with the pork, sliced pork.
Yeah, and we can see him there stewing right now. This is cooking station number 4. We are looking at Xiangyong Yuan from all the way from Ireland here.
There are many different types of cuts for the different types of meat. So if you are cutting beef or lamb, which is considered a tougher meat, you actually have to cut against the grain because that'll break up the fibers, which will make it much easier to chew.
Shen Xiangzhang, we were watching right now, and he's making those cuts very, very even. A lot of people talk a lot about the thinness of the cutting, but what's most important is that evenness, so that when the food is received by the judges, that they get a consistent texture throughout. Texture is one of the major things these chefs are being judged on.
It's amazing. He makes it look so easy, but I've tried this and it is not easy.
No, it's not.
It's quite challenging.
Food is delicious. And when we talk about food in the West, the word food refers to everything we put in our mouth for nourishment. But for Chinese people, the Chinese character food is actually very unique. It is a combination of 2 characters. The first one being ren, which means person, and the second one liang, which means good. So when you talk about preparing food, it also means good food is made by good people. And we've had a lot of good people here over the past 2 days, haven't we, Tyson?
We really have. And
this is Shen Yong Yuan, once again from Dublin, Ireland. He is preparing his green peppers for his potato shred dish.
Those are very spicy. He's going to make fried hot green pepper with potato shreds. And that's his self-selected dish. So he has to shred all of that, and again, it has to be done evenly so that it can cook properly. All of this will reveal to the judges how well they're able to prepare their foods and how good they are at cutting.
That's right. We're taking a look at that very famous northeastern pickled cabbage, and the reason it's a pickled cabbage is because in those harsh, colder regions, they had to prepare their food for the winter, and one of the ways they'd preserve it was pickling it. And through that necessity, brought about this unique flavoring that was been used in many different dishes to tantalize the taste buds of many people for thousands of years.
Yes, Northeastern is actually known for its rich flavors, and its dishes are very very sumptuous and substantial. So they've, you know, these chefs are working really hard, but they have to keep their heart very calm throughout this whole process.
In order to be a good person, you do have to be very calm, and you do. Wielding that big knife, we're seeing a lot of different knifing techniques. Why don't we turn and watch a video about the cutting techniques we're watching? Welcome back. We're live in Times Square for NTD's 4th International Chinese Culinary Competition, and we are in the final round of the finals here, featuring the Northeastern cuisine. It's been an exciting 2 days, hasn't it, Tyson?
It really has. I love Northeastern cuisine, and it's getting a little bit cooler these days, so it's making me crave. I'm thinking, oh, I know exactly what to make throughout the winter. Although I'm not sure if I'll be able to master the cutting techniques as well as these chefs have done.
Now, although the Northeastern cuisine is very heavily influenced by the Northeastern region, the cold mountains, they hunt a lot of the game in the mountains, and it's a lot of mountain vegetables that they're using. More recently, actually, in the 1930s, the Imperial Court was moved to the Northeastern region, and along with the Imperial Court went the Imperial chefs, who were very cultivated in all the different cuisines. So the Northeastern cuisine in the recent history in China was actually influenced by many other cuisines, making it a very rich and succulent cuisine.
Yes, and knife training, actually, we just saw the video on cutting. Knife training is extremely important. You'll notice that they're using one knife throughout all of this preparation. So all they, you know, for all traditional Chinese cuisine, they actually only use one knife.
That's right, they do.
They use it to chop and slice and dice.
That's right.
Scoop and fry and tenderize.
They do everything with that one knife to prepare these dishes for these judges. And when the judges get these dishes, they're looking to see, because the contestants are required to produce this food in its most traditional sense, with the distinguishable features and the characteristics particular to that dish and that geographic region, as well as the cuisine style.
Yes, they're not allowed to use any chemicals or preservatives or additives.
Right.
The most well-known additive that is used in Chinese cuisine is MSG, but it is actually not considered part of the authentic way to prepare cuisine.
That's right. MSG is not traditional. It is a man-made chemical, if you will. Yeah, and it's added to the dishes to enhance the flavor of the ingredients. It's a kind of a shorthand for chefs. But in traditional Chinese cuisine, they're to be balancing all of these different cutting techniques, the heat and the timing, and all of these ingredients, using them fresh and organic to solicit these unique flavors from these unique regions, and to make these dishes very, very tasty. So they're relying more on the technique and the ingredients instead of the MSG. And we require that of our chefs in this traditional Chinese competition.
Yes, and in fact, 80% of their score will go not only to the appearance and texture of the dish, but it'll really go to how the dish tastes. They have to be able to blend and melt all of the flavors together to create that perfect, I guess, final flavor. That's
right. That flavor of each dish is called the spirit of the dish. But the judges are also looking at the texture, the dish's color, and the aromas as well. Now, we've had a lot of opportunity to look at some of these dishes. Let's see what the crowd's thinking. Over to you, Cece.
Doing? I'm Cece from Food Paradise, and with me here I have two friends who just arrived in New York from Ireland, and this is their first destination. Can you believe it? How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, Cece. Thank you very much. Shame about the weather, but we're delighted to be here to taste all this lovely new food. Can't wait.
What do you think about the competition so far?
I think it's really exciting. It's such a great opportunity for us as tourists to come in and really experience top global Chinese food. It's not something that we would have expected when we arrived, so we're really excited.
Yeah, very excited for the next part of the competition. Looking forward to the northeastern dish.
Did you try the traditional Chinese dishes yet?
Well, we've only arrived. We've had 1 or 2 dishes so far, and they were really, really nice. So I'm building up an appetite now, so I really can't wait.
You know, like, do you usually cook traditional Chinese dishes? You said that you cook, right? But you said that you were trying to make some Chinese food. How did that go?
Well, I have to say I do like to try and experiment in the kitchen, but trying to cook Chinese food is quite difficult because we were talking earlier, and apparently a lot of the dishes that I thought were Chinese were more Americanized dishes. So I'm not going to say anything here now, but but anyway.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's get back to you guys.
Welcome back. We're live in Times Square for NTD's 4th International Chinese Culinary Competition. We are in the final round of the finals featuring the Northeastern cuisine. It's been an exciting 2 days, and we're capping it off with the Northeastern cuisine. Isn't it exciting, Tyson?
Very exciting. The chefs are working hard to win their final. The winner, the gold winner, will actually win $10,000.
That's right. These people in the finals are competing for a combined purse of over $75,000.
It's amazing.
It really is. It's really putting them to the test. The added pressure of the elements and the audience, as well as the pressure of winning that big purse. Right now we're looking at cooking station number 3. It's Joshua Zhang from Georgia, USA.
Yes, it looks like he's preparing his sweet potatoes in hot toffee.
That's right. This is such an interesting dish. We talk about the knife and all these different things that they're making. He's actually making hot toffee in his wok for this dish.
It's amazing.
Right now he's preparing and slicing up the potatoes.
Yes, he has to get all of the elements right so that the potatoes are cooked just perfectly. That's right, and we're looking at another contestant, Jinxian Zhang. He's preparing the exact same dish, and we see him balancing one of the very important principles of the Chinese culinary arts. It's called huo hou, which refers to the heat and timing. And Chinese chefs don't use necessarily thermometers looking at the degrees. They're more looking at the oils. They're looking at the steam. They're looking at the bubbles. They're looking at the size of the bubbles to judge the heat and the timing. And this is a skill that is cultivated over many different years. Wow, okay.
This is cooking station number 3 we're watching, and he's paying attention. We're saying, wow, it's looking like it's boiling, but he's looking at how many bubbles there are, the size of those bubbles, and how much steam there is, so he knows exactly what's happening to his ingredients inside of his wok. Yes, the low heats are good for simmering and softening meat, whereas the high heat helps to quickly fry the food and preserve a lot of the nutrients in the food. So you'll see both here. We just saw one quick fry on one wok, and then on the other wok was this, you know, the lower heat where he's simmering the food. That's right. There's a unique technique where they use a very, very high heat to make a non-sticky wok. Why don't you explain a little bit about that, Tyson? Well, if you want to make your wok non-sticky, what you do is you start to heat the wok up until it's smoking, and then you add cold oil, and then you swirl it around and pour it out. But here we're watching him actually make the toffee. He's poured the sugar into his wok, and you see as he's constantly having to stir around his ladle to make the toffee just the right texture. That's right, and then he's going to add those potatoes in for his self-selected dish of sweet potatoes and hot toffee. This is the dish he chose for himself, but at the last minute, right when the round began, he was also given 2 required dishes which he had no opportunity to prepare for. So it looks like for his self-selected dish, he wanted to choose something sweet and very tasty, because those required dishes, he's going to be tested on his skills, isn't he, Tyson? Yes. And oh, here, he's pouring in the
sweet potatoes to mix it around with the hot toffee.